where,
So see how it's loading?
yeah,
Wait till it's close to the end and then go to YouTube. Do you have
Where-
YouTube open?
I had everything open that I had before. Is it
Yep. that
remote
one.
meetings? And then,
So see how it's loading?
yeah, and then,
Wait till it's close to the end. Oh, okay, so go over 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs. See the
I
last tab?
had
It's
everything open
red.
that I had before. Is it
Yep, that
remote
one.
meetings?
Mute there,
And where's the mute?
down bottom.
Yeah, and then.
I can hear you.
Gotta go down. Okay, so go over 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs. See the
I
last
had
tab? It's
everything open that I
red.
had
Go
before.
up a
Is
little
it
bit more
remote
into the
meetings?
video. Mute there.
And where's the mute?
Down bottom. Where is it?
And then.
I can hear you.
Gotta go down. Okay, so go over 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs. See the
I
last
had
tab? It's
everything open
red.
that I had
Go up a
before.
little bit more into the video. Mute there.
And where's the mute?
Down bottom. Where is it?
And then.
I can hear you.
Gotta go down. Okay, so go
Sounds
over-
weird, Jason. Sounds like it's on a circle thing.
There's a delay for the YouTube, and then there's kind of like a feedback loop now here for.
And where do I
Right.
turn myself back on here?
Zoom. Go back to your Zoom.
This one?
No, try
Oh,
using
I
it.
want to close that one.
You can,
I
yeah.
want this one. And nope, that's
No,
not it.
go to yours down bottom. There should be a Zoom somewhere.
This one?
Where'd your window go?
I don't know. I lost it.
Try the next one. One more to the left. Way down bottom. Let's look for it. It's got to be here somewhere. Try the blue square.
This one is Outlook.
No, a little bit over.
This one?
No, it's not.
Photos. That's not.
Where did it go? It says live on YouTube.
That's okay. That's what you're saying. It's enough swear. Wait, home.
It's my Zoom button here. But that's the Zoom client. This is YouTube. This is
Host
Host
attendee. You're not in the meeting anymore. You got to go open your Zoom again.
this one. And I do the client.
Try it.
Well,
Yeah.
if she can hear me, then I'm in it.
Return the meeting.
Yeah, Fred, we can hear you and Mia talking.
Well, it's all very polite.
Oh, I know. I just want to let you know that you are still in the Zoom.
Okay. Can I
You can
rename?
start your video.
For those viewing the live stream, we are the Northborough Groundwater Advisory Committee, and we are working through a technical issue at the moment, but we should be on shortly.
Go back on. Okay. We're ready. We're in. All set? Everyone who's supposed to hear me can hear me?
Yep.
Now you're
Nah,
experts.
thank you, Mia.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Happy to help.
Donuts tomorrow on me. All right. It's all yours, Jason.
Ready to begin. My name is Jason. Good evening. My name is Jason Perot, and I call to order this Tuesday, April 13th meeting of the Northborough Groundwater Advisory Committee. This open meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirements of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which is referenced at the top of our posted agenda for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public participation. This meeting is being conducted remotely using the Zoom conferencing application. Our posted meeting agenda notes the various means by which the meeting can be viewed. In this case, for tonight's meeting, the single way to view this meeting is to look at the YouTube live stream, which is posted on our agenda and which you can find by going to the Town of Northborough website and looking for the remote meeting button, which will take you to the right place. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Be aware that other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer, and be aware that anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Permit me now to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each agenda item and the participants. After the participants conclude the presentation, I will invite board members to offer their comments, questions, or motions. For any response, please signal the chair and wait for the chair to yield the floor to you. If a member wishes to respond to another member's comment, please request to do so through the chair. And finally, because this is a remote meeting, any vote taken will be taken by roll call vote. I'd like to now just quickly confirm member access. Board members and staff members, when I call your name, please unmute yourself and respond in the affirmative. My name is Jason Perot, member of the Board of Selectmen. Amy Paretsky, Planning Board.
Here.
Brian Furman, Water and Sewer Commissioners.
Here.
And Diane Goldner, Conservation Commission.
Here.
We also have with us Town Engineer Fred Litchfield.
Here.
Thank you. And I will introduce other members at the time they're brought into the meeting for their respective agenda items. That takes care of that. And we can now begin. We'll first consider the petition of Quality Framing Contractor, Inc. for an amendment to special permit in the Groundwater Protection Overlay District for construction of a revised architectural plan for the approved two-family dwelling on the property located at 399 Hudson Street, map 30 and parcel 81 in the residential C zoning district and located entirely within Groundwater Protection Overlay District Area 3. The applicant is Quality Framing Contractor Incorporated, and representative with us here is Peter Bemis, Engineering Design Consultants Incorporated. Peter, you just acknowledged we can hear you.
Yes, good evening. I'm here.
Thank you, Peter. Peter, why don't you go ahead and make the presentation?
Okay, great. Thank you. So this matter was before the advisory committee. It was later in the year last year. The reason for coming back, so you've already given a referral, and it was approved by both the planning board and the zoning board. The architecture in this case for this project was revised. The original architecture, although approved by the board, there was some discussion during presentations, and the person who bought it, Quality Framing Contractor from Bill Poutre, who originally permitted the project, decided not to go with that plan and came forward with a plan by Shane Structures. The Shane Structures plan actually affords a smaller footprint and a much nicer roof line and elevation to the street. So we've met with the design review committee. They have already put in a favorable reaction to the planning board and zoning board, and we're hopeful that you folks would see the wisdom in the plan as well. I realize groundwater's going to be less concerned about roof lines and about facade, but I can tell you both of those things were good, and I know Amy's here, so I think she'll appreciate them maybe more at planning. But
Yep.
when it comes to groundwater, the coverage of the building has been reduced. So we're about almost 600 square feet smaller, but we're still putting in the same infiltrative drainage systems. We're orienting the driveway in a slightly different fashion in that the two garages were centered in the middle of the building, which Fred and I both had misgivings about. But again, that's what the client wanted at the time, Mr. Poutre. Quality Framing's garages are now to opposite sides of the building, which affords the entries to be together and having a grass plot in front of the house. So it's going to look a lot more, I think it's going to look a lot more spacious, and there'll be less conflict with turning movements in the driveway. So ultimately, we have less coverage, same stormwater mitigation systems, and frankly, I think a better overall project. But we have to go through this process again. So we're looking forward to your affirmative recommendation on it, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Peter. Fred, any comments or observations you want to offer at this time?
I had done a review memo for all of you and sent it to you as well as to Peter. The comments are same as the last time. All the confirmation stuff, what Peter indicated is true. I do think the driveway access is much improved. Pretty much everything else is the same. The number of bedrooms, it really hasn't changed much in terms of the groundwater and the applicable regulation. So And would you like me to read through all the comments? I can do that, or we can just, they're all basically the same.
Basically the same, but for the purpose of the meeting, if you just step through them quickly, that would be good.
Sure.
Thank you.
The applicant, at the last time, there was supposed to be a statement from the engineer who did the drainage indicating that it won't degrade the groundwater quality. I couldn't recall if I had received that or not. I didn't see it in my file, so I think it's still outstanding. It is something that he needs to get to us. I know he was going through some issues at the time we went through the board the last time, but it still needs to be submitted. The septic loading is in accordance with 707-010D3C6. The bylaw allows 220 gallons per 10,000 square feet, and this project has enough land area for the number of bedrooms that they're proposing. I believe it's 3 per side. Then I had a question, depending on the ownership and of the units, the approval of this project should include details adequate to define the responsibility for each party. If one person doesn't own the whole project, how will they share the maintenance on the drainage system, especially, and the driveway? They will be required to do a permeability test in the area utilized for infiltration in order to verify the assumptions made in the drainage analysis. The applicant must confirm that the seasonal high groundwater is at least 2 feet below the bottom of the infiltration chamber. And the stormwater and operation maintenance plan shall be submitted, which includes a copy of the manufacturer's maintenance manual, annual notification to the town engineer before the work is performed. The stormwater operation manual, maintenance manual shall include a blank inspection report outlining all areas to be inspected. The town engineer shall be afforded the opportunity to inspect the work. The town engineer shall be provided copies of the contract and invoices for all work performed. All material removed from the drainage system shall be properly disposed of off-site. The stormwater operation and maintenance plan shall be included as part of the approval and recorded with the board's decision by the zoning board and the planning board in this case. The whole idea behind that blank form is that when the engineer is doing the inspection to kind of wrap up the project, it sets the table for the homeowner to know what it is they should be looking for, because they won't have any idea otherwise. And they'll be able to contact somebody who did it once before. There shall be a final set of drawings with all the same revision dates if there are any changes after this, and that shall be submitted to the town engineer for review prior to any site work. And then there's an as-built plan with all the usual conditions about any changes to the site, including verification that the drainage was built according to the plan. I would like to point out that the ZBA is meeting tomorrow night. So if the board, the committee is inclined to make a recommendation today, I'll draft a letter tomorrow and send it to the ZBA. The planning board's going to meet, I believe, next week, and they will take it up at their agenda as well. And I will do the same thing that I did the last time, indicate that we voted however we vote, or you vote, and then let them know.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Fred. I guess questions from members of the board. I have the question, I guess, as we talk about the operation and maintenance plan. Is there any provision in the ownership documents or anything for the 2 units here in terms of taking care of the maintenance required on that?
Yes, and they were included with the application. I think we had a standalone document for that, but I'm willing to stipulate to everything that Fred had raised. I'm fine with all those conditions.
Okay.
Particularly when Walter was sick at the time, and I forgot about that, Fred, and I didn't get to see your memo, so I apologize.
I think the way the site's kind of laid out is they've kind of split everything. So it seems like it'll be an easy thing to assign responsibility to each unit. It's not like there's a shared drainage system. There's one for each half of the building, if you will. So other than plowing the driveway, I think, and maintenance going on down the road, it should be pretty straightforward in this case. It's not like some other ones that are much more complicated. It looks like a good way for them to split it up, but just want to make sure that's all clear.
Great.
And
thank
one
you.
person could own both sides.
Right. I'm going to, because I don't have visual for Diane and Bryant, I'm going to go to them in turn, just ask them if they have any questions. Diane, do you have any questions or comments?
I have a question about the operation and maintenance. We've had many discussions, I think, on all the boards about who keeps track of what. Has the town discussed maybe setting up some type of paperwork that all of these could be entered into, like on a computer? I'm not that familiar with like spreadsheets and stuff, but that way we'd have an idea of all that has to be done or watched over.
I don't know that there's any particular software, but I do think that it's something that we're moving towards, is creating a database so that we can have a particular file, if you will, about who should submit what. But various projects get approved at different times and there'll be different dates. But we can work on that. We haven't set anything up formally yet, but it is something we're contemplating.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Bryant, any questions or comments?
No, looks pretty good to me. Thank you.
Amy?
Yeah, I do think the design looks good. I did see it at design review, but I guess my main question, this is a special permit amendment. Is it only because of the design? Like, is that the only reason why it's back in front of us? You said nothing else has changed.
Right, no, that's it. Staff was uncomfortable making that decision that the board had explicitly referenced in both planning and zoning a set of plans, which was the architecturals done by, I think it was RDI, if I recall. And by us going with Shane Structures, clearly it was not the same plan. And it just didn't make sense. So we were like, okay, we'll just go back. Unfortunately, it's not an easy way to do the amendment.
Right.
So we were back into this scenario again, Amy. So yes, a lot of hoops to go through to make a small change.
Right.
It's
Yep.
the way it
Well,
is.
thank you for doing it.
Well, thank you.
And so I guess it will be the same decision. It will just point towards the new plan, Fred?
Yes, what I would do is write a letter of recommendation, if the committee's in favor of it, is a recommendation of approval of an amendment to the special permit to reference all the same conditions and the new plan.
Okay, thanks. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you, Amy. I don't have any further questions. I think my understanding here is that nothing functionally has changed with respect to groundwater protection for
That's
this
correct.
project. And so from our perspective, and I'll just say this for the benefit of the applicant and anyone else who's viewing here, in recent discussions, the Groundwater Advisory has, I believe, taken the stance that although the bylaw that applies to the project might be broader, the work of this committee will tend to focus more on the technical details relating to groundwater protection. And so I want to make that clear to the applicant that that's the scope of our review. There may be other considerations that the permit granting authority may take into consideration. And second, we only provide a recommendation to the permit granting authority. We are not an authority ourselves. We do not issue approvals. So we're just giving a recommendation, and it's up to the permit granting authority to make a final determination with that input. So having said that, if there are no other questions or comments from the board, do I have a motion?
I move that we vote for approval of just the change, that everything else will stay the same. Does that cover it enough?
The 399 Hudson Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
I take that to be recommend approval with the specified conditions and in consideration of the amendment for the new plan associated with the project. Do I have a second?
Second,
Moved by Diane, seconded by Bryant. There's no further discussion. This is a roll call vote. Diane?
Yes.
Bryant?
aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And I also, Jason Perot, vote aye. So it carries unanimously. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate your circling back here for this reason, and on to the next meeting.
Great. Thank you, board members. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Okay. Good night. So Fred, you'll be writing the letter of the communication to be presented. That's tomorrow night, you said?
It is tomorrow night. I believe they're meeting at 6 o'clock. So I will put
Okay.
it together tomorrow and make sure that I'll attend the ZBA meeting and make sure ask if there are any questions about the groundwater portion of the site plan. And then I'm sure Kathy will be there to explain the design review committee's position.
Very good. Thank you. The next item of business is to consider the petition of Massachusetts Group Real Estate LLC for a special permit in the Groundwater Protection and Overlay District for the construction of a proposed vertical mixed-use building on the property located at 90 West Main Street, map 62 and parcel 59 in the downtown business zone and partially located within Groundwater Protection Overlay District areas 2 and 3. The applicant is Matt's Group Real Estate LLC, and the representative is Vito Colono, professional engineer, Cornerstone Engineering Incorporated. Welcome, Vito.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
I guess I can just start right in.
Sure.
I'm gonna just share my screen just so I could go through everything, I guess.
Yes, please.
Oh, I'm disabled right now from sharing. Fred, you want to enable me?
Do I need to do anything for you there, Vito?
It says I'm disabled from screen sharing.
Let me see if I can.
If you want, I can just start going through it while they're figuring that part out.
Let me see.
All right.
I've got more here. So I guess I can make you a co-host so that then you can share.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to do
Why
it.
don't we try that?
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Okay, all right, here we go. Everyone see the screen?
Yes.
So this is 90 West Main Street right here. This is an existing two-family home. We're right next to, there's a commercial development on the side. Straight across the street was that new development where they just built the multifamily with commercial use on the first floor. So the site plan itself. So this is that existing structure right here. Overall, it's a 1 acre lot. Right now, there's an existing house, a two-family. In the back is an existing garage. Both of those were built about 1945, based on the property record cards. And to the rear of the site, there is Cold Harbor Brook that kind of borders the backside. And then there's wetlands and floodplain that kind of encompass this back portion of the lot. As you said in the introduction, we have a split zone where there's groundwater area 3 to the rear of the site, and then groundwater area 2 to the rear of the site, and then groundwater 3 to the front. This is that zone line right through the site, right in here. The total existing impervious right now is about 7,300 square feet. And that includes the 2 structures, and then this driveway that runs down behind the house and kind of has a pad in the back right over here. There's also a Mass DOT drainage easement that runs right through the site right here, and that carries all the roadway runoff from West Main Street and discharges right down here next to that existing garage. See the proposal itself, what they're looking to do, if I can scroll down here. Okay, is to remove all the structures from the site, remove all the existing pavement and everything, and construct a mixed-use building. And with associated parking, driveway access, most of it's clustered toward the front of the site. All the development, pavement, the buildings and everything would be entirely within the zone 3 groundwater. The zone 2 in the back would be left basically to be more of a natural state. All this pavement structures, everything would be taken out from the rear, and they're going to reseed this area with a native plant mix. So this area in the back in your groundwater zone 2 will be left more of a natural area in the end. So the building itself is a mixed use with commercial on the first floor and then residential on the upper floors. That'll have 2 3-bedroom units and 1 2-bedroom unit. And the proposed impervious is 9,700 square feet about. It's 9,685. So that's an increase of 2,300 square feet. So to offset that increase, what we've proposed is a roof drain dry well under the parking area right here. And that collects most of the roof, not quite all of it. We just couldn't get all of it from grading. This kind of schematic in the corner of the plans just shows what roof areas are designated to go to that infiltration system. And we sized that to infiltrate the full 100-year storm, just to make sure all of that gets into the ground. And then the parking area itself, we've graded it to go to a storm scepter water quality treatment device to treat that runoff before it gets discharged to the rear of the site. So with these 2 devices, more so the infiltration dry well, we've offset that peak rate of runoff to match it to the existing conditions. And we've controlled the volume of runoff to comply with the your bylaws and regulations. Now, we did do some test pits out there. We did 3 test pits, 1, 2, and 3. The soils were pretty favorable. We showed good gravel in most of these. This one had a layer above the gravel of a loamy sand, but still the underlying material was very good. In the back, obviously we had some high groundwater, especially in this hole here, which is closest to the wetlands. But based on those test holes, we did locate this above that seasonal high groundwater elevation to give that separation that's required. Let's see, that's my kind of quick overview of it. I know Fred did have comments. I can kind of let him go through those after we take questions, maybe.
I think I'd just be inclined to have Fred walk through the
Great.
conditions he's already identified, and then we can follow with questions.
Okay. The project does meet the requirements of the bylaw. There are 3 sections of the groundwater portion of the zoning bylaw that they filed under. 707D3C3, which 707D3C6, and 707-010D3B2. B2 references the groundwater 2 area, although the project is all located within the groundwater area 3. And they do meet the requirements. They are going to be served by town sewer and town water, which is always a good thing, I guess, when it comes to the septic systems in the groundwater area. If it's at all possible, I like to see them connected. The project narrative does indicate that all the impervious areas were constructed prior to '86. If there's some way, there's any documentation, Vito, and maybe an old picture, an old plot plan or something that's dated prior to that, that kind of outlines that, that would be helpful just for the file.
Yeah, we'll try to track that down.
Unfortunately, when we had our first flyover for the GIS system, it was in '96. So I don't have any real solid data. Had we adopted the bylaw when we did our first flyover, it would have been perfect, but that's not the way it went. The slopes greater than 3 to 1 should be properly reinforced and stabilized. I know you've got some pretty steep slopes just off the edge of the pavement. I want to make sure, I think you had some details. I just want to make sure that we're good. I know that, did you already go to conservation or are you planning to go? I forget.
We did go to conservation, yeah.
Okay, so they already have an order of conditions for it? Okay.
They didn't issue it yet, but I think that they were pretty much all set with the plans.
Okay.
They didn't have any outstanding issues left.
Okay. Then I also would like to see 2 permeability tests in the area of the infiltration chamber, just to confirm the drainage design. The applicant should confirm that the dry well will be a minimum of 2 feet above seasonal high groundwater, just so that we have the data right where the system is being proposed. I know there's some other test bits, and I expect that it will be. I'd just like to confirm it right there before they dig that in, put that in. I must have missed the outline of that roof structure that goes to the infiltration, because my comment says that you have 1,390 square feet of impervious cover to be recharged from the roof. but I didn't see it on the architectural drawings. I missed it on the plan, so.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we showed the gutters on the architecturals or not.
They did not. They
Okay.
did not. So I wanted to make sure that that's, in fact, relayed to who's ever building it, that that's what they have to do.
Yep.
Again, talked about the ownership. I assume that it'll all be one owner and they'll just be rental upstairs.
Yeah, that's
So
the
that-
intent. The owners are supposed to occupy that first floor as their business.
So they'll be responsible for all the maintenance on the system, the drainage
Yep.
system.
That's right.
The project will require a Mass DOT access permit. I know that you're utilizing the same driveway access, but you'll be changing the amount of traffic going in and out. So either get a new permit from Mass DOT or get a letter from them saying another permit's not necessary, but I think they'll want to look at it.
Yep.
And then the stormwater operation maintenance plan and long-term pollution prevention plan should include a sample inspection report made part of any approval. The town engineer and the groundwater committee should be provided copies of the contract and invoices for all work. And then all material removed from the drainage system shall be disposed of off-site. And then, I'm not going to read them all, but there's the standard conditions for the as-built plan and certification that the drainage system was built according to plan and will function as designed. All the typical stuff. Changes in grades or any utilities installed, which should all be shown on that plan and approved by me before an occupancy permit gets issued.
Thank you very much, Fred. We now go to board members if they have any questions or comments. Diane, I'll start with you.
No, nothing at this time.
Thank you. Bryant?
I only had one question. It said there's a right-of-way, an easement from DOT for a drainage conduit. And I was just curious, at what depth is that? Would that interfere with any of the construction there?
It's we did.
Looks like it goes right through the disposal system area.
Yeah, it goes right through right here. So it kind of splits the
Okay.
site, which is why we have the drywall on one side, drainage on the other.
Okay.
We just actually had to add some cover over this under a previous order of conditions because it was so shallow that the tops of the bells on the pipe were exposed.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if it was gonna,
Yeah.
wasn't any issue with, and what you might have to do with DOT to,
Yep. Yeah. So we'll just notify them when we do the access permit that, you know,
Okay.
this project.
okay. All right,
We're
fine,
still
thank
leaving
you.
it open with access to the rear. So I don't see why they'd have any issue with that.
Right, okay, thank you.
Is there any actionable condition or anything there associated with that, with Bryant's observation, or just a detail of the project procedure?
I think it's more of an acknowledgement that the easement's there and that the
Mhm.
pipe is located within the easement. I think that if DOT is amenable, moving the drainage easement, moving the drainage pipe and relocating the easement, it may be more of a paperwork nightmare than actual construction issue, but I think they've managed to work around it. So, and I believe everything in the parking lot is above, which will give even more cover over the pipe in the
Mhm.
future. So I think they'll probably want to leave it where it is and just work around it as the design is, but it will be something to make sure it's laid out in the field.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked to DOT about moving it and they were okay with it, but it would have been a lot more work and time, more paperwork, like you say, than anything.
I'm not even sure who would have to approve that. It's not something you can get permission from the district. You'd have to go
Yeah.
to Boston and then I don't know where from there.
Yep. Yeah. So there was so many steps involved. It was, we decided to just design around it.
There's been a number of proposals at this location and this one here is by far the best that I've seen. So I'm happy to see this one going forward and hopefully they'll be able to build it soon.
I have one follow-up just for my own information. The outlet structure, is there a head wall for that existing drainage? It looked like it ends right right where you're going to be doing work on with the riprap, or is it beyond that?
Yeah, so their existing head wall comes out down here.
Oh, okay, so it's beyond your work. Okay.
Is
Okay.
there a head wall there, Vito? Or is it just a flared end?
Theirs is a head wall. It had some stone next to it. I forget if it's all if it has concrete or if it's just a stone head wall.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Amy, any questions?
Nope, actually, I have one. Fred, where you said it appears to meet the requirements of the sections, that means that you've checked all the impervious numbers, and as long as they have roof drains, all the numbers are good?
Yes, the roof drain offsets the way it works with projects that had impervious cover prior to 1986 when the bylaw was adopted, that impervious cover is grandfathered. So they remove that impervious cover from the total lot area, multiply the remaining lot area by 15%, and then that number plus the amount of impervious cover that existed before is the total amount that they can make under the new project. And then when infiltration is proposed, that is then reduced that number even further. So yes, I reviewed the impervious cover calculations, they're good. Yes, I reviewed the drainage calculations and they're good. They do meet the requirements for less than a 15% increase in the volume as well, mostly by doing the infiltration. That infiltration system was sized enough to offset that increase in volume and up to the 100-year storm. So yes, is the answer to your question.
Okay, so I guess we would be, well, I'm talking for myself, not the whole committee, but we would be okay, or I would be okay if they show Fred the drawing with the drainage on the building, or do we have that go in front of the ZBA or the planning board?
I think that we can, it'll be in the comment letter to both the boards, and
Yeah.
it'll be up to the applicant if they have time to address the drawings prior to the hearing, although one is tomorrow night. If not, it's something that can be made a condition. It's easy to verify in the field because the downspouts have to be shown on the side of
Yeah.
the building before the building inspector would issue the occupancy permit and before I would approve the as-built drawing. So if it can be put on the drawings, that's great, but if not, it's something that we can easily catch during construction.
Okay, thanks. That's all I
Thank you,
had.
Amy. Yes, I have no further questions concerning this. I think I'm satisfied that for the purposes of this committee and what we review, that everything is adequately addressed, or whatever conditions are required have been noted. Any other comments by committee members? Anything else? Seeing none. Does anyone care to offer a motion? The magic of actually phrasing the motion.
Yeah. I move that we write a letter of recommendation for this project, considering all the Fred's comments and all that's been discussed tonight. Seems to have covered everything to the satisfaction of everybody.
490 West Main Street.
Yes.
Very good. Motion has been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Diane, seconded by Bryant. This is a roll call vote. Diane?
Yes.
Bryant?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And I, Jason Perot, vote aye, so that carries unanimously. Vito, I think you were here to hear me say it the first time, but I'll repeat it. This Groundwater Advisory Committee tends to focus our evaluation rather narrowly on the technical aspects of groundwater protection. We do not provide, we're not an authority ourselves. We do not offer approvals of anything. We just simply make a recommendation to the permit granting authority for their consideration. There may be other aspects of the bylaw which will come into bear on their decision. With that, I think we're complete for the evening. Thank you very much for presenting. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. Good night.
Thanks, Vito.
And that brings us to old and new business. Review and approve the minutes of February 18th, 2021. Minutes were included by Fred in the email, and if everyone's had an opportunity to review those, I reviewed them earlier. There were just some minor typos, things of that nature that I've already communicated to Fred and Melanie. Don't need to enumerate them here. Does anyone else have any comments they want to offer?
Mr. Chairman, I have a few, just a
Yes.
couple.
Sure.
On page 2, the first full paragraph, about 5 lines up, it still says, should the pH level of the soil sample show an increase, then the appropriate amount of lines should be added. That should be a decrease, I believe.
Increase in pH, decrease in level. Is that right?
No, we want a decrease in the pH level.
Oh, okay.
The concern was the dog urine lowering the pH, making it more acidic. And you'd add lime to bring it back up towards a neutral. So decrease instead of increase. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's exactly why I wrote it that way. I was thinking exactly the opposite of what you just said. But thank you.
On page 3, the roll call vote, I suggest you change Bryant to Furman just to be consistent with everybody else's last name.
Okay.
Okay. And also on page 3, the last paragraph, about 8 lines up, we've got special permit criteria. We got special permit twice, I believe. Strike one of them. Okay, Fred?
Yep.
Okay, and,
Melanie, I'm sure Melanie's got that. We're all wrapped up already.
okay, and page 4, the last sentence of the first paragraph, it says that because the other overlay districts have something similar to connect it, said it's the path, it's just take out said, I believe strike said. Refers to Ms. Martinak's comments.
Okay.
Just strike said, that's all. I think that was it. Actually, she did an excellent job. There was a lot of discussion and she captured it all.
Yeah, Melanie does a great job. She can hear us, but she can't type in. So.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Diane, did you have any issues?
Other than I thought Melanie did a good job.
Great. Okay. Amy, anything?
Yeah, I agree with the great job. My only comment was a special permit twice, but Bryant already said it, so I'm all set.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the February 18, 2021 minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Very concise, Amy.
You can't do that?
No, you certainly can.
Oh, okay.
Amy, moved by Amy, seconded by Diane. This is a roll call vote. Diane?
Yes.
Bryant? Sorry, you muted yourself, Bryant.
Oh, sorry, aye.
Thank you. Amy?
Aye.
And I, Jason Pro, vote aye. Approval of minutes carries unanimously. And next item, discussion of next meeting date, May 11, 2021, if necessary. Fred?
I don't know for sure that we have anything. We took care of 2 items tonight that are going to be on the ZBA and planning board meeting. ZBA is hearing one of them tomorrow night, but they're hearing the second one later this month. So I don't know of any other hearings just yet for May 11th. There may be one. We're working with an applicant who's proposing something on West Main Street that the deadline is April 20th for them to get it in order to get on that May 23rd ZBA meeting, which would then prompt us to have a meeting on May 11th. So I'll let you know
Just
what I know.
curious, yeah, that's a Tuesday, May 11th?
It is a Tuesday, yes.
And is that town election day?
That
It
is
is.
town election day.
Is there any conflict with holding a meeting on town election day?
My understanding of the state law, now I'm not an attorney, but I've been doing this a while. My understanding is that the planning board is the only board that cannot legally meet on an election day, on a holiday or election day. So I believe that because you're an advisory committee, we can. I can try to find another night if board members would prefer not to meet on the 11th.
Any board member have a concern about meeting?
I do. And Teresa probably would.
Quite possibly, yes. Yeah, we do have.
Well, May 11th is probably the night the groundwater, the Board of Health meeting is, so it's one less conflict that I got to work around. If you want to move it, fine. If not,
yeah.
If we need to meet, we'll meet. It's up to you.
I think I would agree. I'd perhaps recommend considering moving and finding a date.
Okay,
now and-
I will caution you.
Yes.
Moving the meeting for this particular committee is not as simple as some other ones because you all have other nights that you're out quite often.
Yes.
Other meetings I got to work around. And I will find some dates that we can work with. I have a little more flexibility now that I'm hosting the meeting, so I don't have to track down a host. But I will see if I can put together some dates. It may be later that week or the following week. I would like to meet still at least 1 week before the ZBA meets. Gives me some time to put the letter together after you meet. But worst comes to worst, I guess it could be the night before the ZBA meeting, unless that's a selectmen's night meeting. I think it probably is because
we are the 17th. Yeah.
Oh, so when's Memorial Day?
That would be
Memorial Day is on the 31st. So the ZBA is meeting on the 25th. So the 24th would be the fourth Monday. If the selectmen are not meeting on that night, I might.
We are not. Yeah. 24th would work for me.
Okay.
Other board members, can you say now if that's a good date for you?
Works
for
for me.
Diane?
It wasn't going to be my first choice, but if it works for all of you, fine.
Right.
Water and sewer meets, we usually meet late afternoon, so that's not going to be an issue.
Okay. So we'll pencil that in as the proposed alternate date.
The 24th, and unless, how about the 18th is probably the planning board. Possibly the 12th or the 19th, but I don't know what else is going on. So I'll keep that one in the back of my back pocket. And if I can get another date earlier, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to prepare the letters with more than a day's notice.
Yes, I totally agree. If there's an earlier date that works for everybody, we'll go with that.
It's not like I can't do it. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I can do it again next month if I have to. So it's not a big deal. And I don't even know that we'll have anything just yet. Depends on if the applicants get their applications in by April 20th to get on that agenda.
Right.
I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Very
Thanks.
good.
All right. Thank you all.
If
your
there's
patience.
nothing more, do I have a motion to adjourn
So move.
and a second?
I'll
Second,
second. Whoops.
We caught Bryant first, so
Sure.
motion to adjourn by Diane, second by
care.
Bryant. Roll call vote, Diane,
Aye.
Bryant,
aye.
Amy,
Aye.
and I, Jason Pro, vote aye. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Melanie.
Mhm.
You're welcome. Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night,
See you at
everybody.
town meeting.
Yes.
Oh, Jason ended the meeting. Could you ask me to come over for a minute?